Beef, it's what's for dinner, at least for many people. The average meat-eating American consumes about 50 pounds of beef every year. From roasts to burgers to steaks, beef production makes up a huge percentage of American agriculture. Cattle are raised in all 99 of Iowa's counties, making beef a notable and iconic Iowa ingredient. I'm Charity Nebbe. On this episode, we'll take in the stunning views at a farm in northwest Iowa along the Little Sioux River, where cattlewoman Beth Cathcart raises grass-fed beef. And Chef Kurt Nyguard from the 1910 Grille in Mason City will inspire us with a twist on beef recipes, both elegant and flavorful. All that and more coming up next on Iowa Ingredient.
Funding for Iowa Ingredient has been provided by Friends, the Iowa Public Television Foundation. A grant from the W.T. and Edna M. Dahl Trust. Alliant Energy, working to help Iowa businesses be more productive with funding for equipment upgrades and process improvements. Chef Lisa Laval of Trellis Cafe and Chef Michael Laval of the Des Moines Embassy Club. For more than 100 years, the Des Moines Embassy Club has provided a place to dine, celebrate, and do business. Located in downtown Des Moines and in West Des Moines, details are at embassyclub.com. Iowa Community Foundations, an initiative of the Iowa Council of Foundations, connecting donors to the causes and communities they care about. For good, for Iowa, forever. Details at iowacommunityfoundations.org.
Alcohol always gives some really extra flavor.
Beautiful. Oh, that Look out across the Iowa landscape pretty much anywhere, and you will probably see cows. Beef is big here, contributing billions of dollars to our economy. But beef wasn't really a significant part of the American diet until after the Civil War. Up until then, cows were used for milk, butter, their hides, and also they were used as draft animals on farms. Today, of course, beef is a staple in many Iowa kitchens, and consumers have choices. Alongside conventional beef, they also have organic and grass-fed beef too. Raising cattle has been a way of life in Iowa for decades. Though we've seen a lot of changes, cattle still outnumber people here, and the industry contributes over 5,000 jobs to our economy. For the most part, it's still a family affair. 97% of cattle farms nationwide are family-owned and operated. Beth Cathcart is the fourth generation in her family to raise cattle on these rolling hills in northwest Iowa. Before returning to this farm near Lynn Grove several years ago, she left to pursue a career in graphic arts.
I went screaming off of this farm at age 17 and didn't really intend on coming back. Growing up, I always wanted to go out and help my dad, but in our family, in the Morris family, the women did not work in the fields. Finally, one day, my dad was getting older and concerned about what would happen to the farm, and we were standing out here on top of the hill, and he was a man of few words, and he just said, he goes, "You're the farmer." And I said, "Yep." Come, boss! Come, boss!
Beth's passion for good food, art, and stewardship of the land brought her back to this idyllic farm. She has both embraced her family's tradition and developed her own approach to raising her herd of roughly 65 animals naturally and nearly organic.
The cattle are raised from a closed herd meaning that they're born and raised here, and they're raised on grasses and stockpiled forages that we grow. That's a little bit different when they're grass-fed throughout their lifetime and also finished on grass.
Conventionally raised cattle spend the latter part of their lives in a feedlot on a corn and soybean-based diet. Beth chooses to farm this way because she thinks that it makes sense for the animals and the environment.
This is a way of life. You know, it's more than a job. This is how we live, you know. Come on! I enjoy raising the calves up from birth, and especially the beefy boys, as we call them, and creating a nutritionally dense food product for people. Come on, babies!
She believes it's her respectful and harmonious relationship with the cattle that produces a quality product.
It has a wonderful, rich flavor. The meat is all dry aged for 14 days and the juices are very condensed. The texture is different than conventional beef, and I don't know why necessarily. It's much more refined. It started out, I was raising it for our family, and then extended family, then friends, and then it's kind of grown. I just raise a few animals, you know, in a way that is appropriate for them and for this farm. Come on, babies! When they go to the processor, that's their first bad day.
With an aging population of producers, it's tough to say what will attract young farmers to the beef industry. It's Beth's hope that talking about her personal approach to raising cattle will create an abundant and sustainable way of life for many generations to come. Iowa Ingredient is a food program, and yes, we highlight great chefs cooking amazing dishes using the best Iowa-grown foods. But before we feature our next chef, we first have to talk about a small hotel in Mason City. This is the historic Park Inn Hotel, designed by the world-renowned architect Frank Lloyd Wright. Here in Mason City is quite literally a one-of-a-kind building, being the last standing hotel designed by this iconic architect. After going through extensive restoration, it reopened in 2011, offering visitors the chance to experience an architectural wonder. A fusion of style and function meet in this building, a theme that reverberates in every element of the hotel, including its restaurant, the 1910 Grille.
We do anything from risottos, hummuses. We use naan as our flatbread, as like our house bread here. Try to create kind of a worldly atmosphere of items that you're able to get here locally.
Executive Chef Kurt Nyguard combines the unique flavors of Italy, Korea, and India. This Iowa native brings a commitment to creating delicious meals using the highest quality ingredients.
Cooking is just one of those things that I tended to pick it up pretty easily. It's one of those things I've always enjoyed. I always tell the guests that come in here, civil engineering didn't work out for me, so culinary is the next best thing. It's one of those things that I just love doing. It has a natural fit to it. I've never really called myself to be this person that has like a signature style. I try to continuously learn new things and incorporate them and try them out. Something that I liked 5 years ago, maybe I don't like it 5 years from now. I want to keep progressing on that, bring out something unique.
Kurt has been on the ground floor of helping to build stronger relationships with farmers throughout the area.
Basically, you're keeping your money in your local system here. You're supporting people that you know are truly caring about what they're growing, is you're getting stuff all the way up to the peak where it wants to be. And instead of having it pulled and sit for 2 weeks before you ever get to touch it, it's grown in somebody's field, and then it's here in my hands an hour later. And I'm able to do something with it, which is it's really a cool atmosphere. And you taste it, you notice it right away.
It's wonderful. It's delicious.
Whether you're looking for an intimate setting or a casual dining experience, the 1910 Grille has it.
The restaurant as we're in right now was meant to be a printing press. And due to financial problems, it never ended up happening. They needed to fill in the spot that was originally taken into this. So it turned into a restaurant. This area that you see here is more of our front location. It's kind of the bar side, or what you'd want to be the more relaxing. Behind the glass partition there, it's more of our formal location with an open kitchen.
Inspirational architecture, amazing food, and a comfortable atmosphere comes together to make the dining experience at the 1910 Grille all the more enjoyable. The most difficult part? Deciding what to eat.
Oh, I'm going to tell you to try everything. I go, I'm the chef. I have to. I go, everything's good.
And now Chef Kurt is here in the kitchen with us, and we are going to cook with some grass-fed beef. What are we going to make?
We are going to be doing a grilled New York strip loin with a compound butter of roasted poblanos, and then a grilled corn and tomato salsa.
Oh, wonderful. That sounds fantastic. What do you want to do first?
Well, I think what we need to do is actually get our corn going first, so we
Okay.
can start charring that, so then we can flip our pan and use that for our steak. Just giving a little coat of oil to get the char going a little
All right.
nicer. And would you mind taking care of that, please?
No problem. Here.
So as it blackens, then that's about the point where we want to do it. And then while that's going, that'll probably take us 5-6 minutes easy,
Okay.
on that. And then we can kind of start getting some of our other ingredients together while we're doing that.
Red onions.
Yep, we got about half of a red onion, fine diced in there. A little bit of cilantro, it's chopped. Then a little bit of black pepper, some salt. Of course, you have to have garlic in any salsa. And then our nice binder here, some fresh squeezed lime.
Nice. What are we doing here?
This is our roasted poblano butter that's here. This stuff right here is actually going to be, it's a mixture of our softened butter, crushed red pepper, cayenne, mustard, black pepper, kosher salt, a little garlic to it, and then obviously some minced roasted poblano peppers
Nice.
as well.
Wow, and what do you use it for?
This is actually going to be going on the steak. It's going to add a really nice deep layer of flavor on top of the steak. And then what we're going to do is top it with the salsa.
Okay,
So while we
terrific.
got that's going, we can probably pull that off anytime you like.
All right.
And then we'll just start incorporating this together. Usually I like to do this until it's pretty much smooth,
Okay.
and that'll do it. If you have an electric mixer at home, that's a great way to do it.
All right, and you mix all that up, but you can mix it up ahead of time, and
You can mix it up ahead of time. You can mix it up ahead at the restaurant. We'll do it occasionally. We mix it ahead of time, and then what we do is we actually roll it into kind of parchment paper logs.
oh, cool.
And
All
we'll
right.
save that. Set that right
Put
there.
that there to rest, and
Yep.
you want to get a steak
Yeah, I'll
going,
get a steak
too?
going. If you want to work on incorporating
Okay.
that just a little
Yeah.
more, that would be great.
All right.
So I prefer to just give it a little oil beforehand, brush it, helps char nicely. Keep it simple, a little salt and pepper on there. seasoned side on the grill. I'm gonna come
All
right behind you there.
Here, I'll just scooch
All
over
right,
for
thank
you.
you.
There you go.
Got a nice sizzle going. Usually about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll turn it. A lot of times what I do is I actually mark them, and then I'll finish them in the oven. It's a great way to kind of get your marks that you want without overcooking it, too.
All right, terrific.
Perfect. I just mixed in our corn into her, so our salsa's pretty much ready to go.
Okay. Ooh, I'm dying to try this. This is going to be great. That is
You like?
delicious.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So let's get a plate up, and then we'll start getting this thing together here.
All right.
So, move it. Will you take that over on your side
I
for just a
will.
second?
There you go.
Please? Thank you.
All right.
We'll get that.
Now it's time for the poblano butter.
The nice thing with this too, a lot of times let it sit for about 3 minutes or so, a lot of that's going to already get sucked down into the
Nice.
steak itself. So then really all we need to do is just kind of top it off with some of the fresh salsa here. And then they can eat it however they like after that.
Oh, that is awesome.
Perfect.
That is so beautiful. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we're moving on to recipe number 2. You're getting some rice noodles going there. What are we making?
We are going to be doing kind of a Asian-inspired filet mignon. So we have our Iowa grass-fed beef right here. We got our rice noodles that are starting. And then we already have some pre-roasted red onions that are ready
Nice.
to go for us.
All right,
At
so
that
what do
point.
we need to do to get these ready?
All right, so we're going to take our filet here, and then we're going to take a little bit of our toasted sesame oil. That's going to give it just a nice kind of a Asian flavor to it. It gives it a really nice toasted flavor as well. I'm going to take a little sesame seed and just kind of coat around the outside of it. Trying to stay off the grill side too much because you don't want them to kind of burn to it.
Okay,
It's better to get to the sides of it.
all right.
Then we're going to take a little bit of salt, pepper on that. I think we got our grill about ready to go.
Hopefully.
Let's turn that guy on
Looks
high.
good. All right.
Just gonna take a little bit of garlic with it too. Most of this garlic, if you get some chunks on there, that's fine. It's gonna kind of sear off as it goes.
A lot of fun flavors
Yes.
together.
So,
Great.
all right, I'm gonna get that in there. So that's probably gonna be about 6 minutes total on that.
Okay.
Okay, with the rice noodles, while we're waiting on those to keep them from sticking, we'll give them just a little bit of sesame oil.
All right.
And kind of a sweet chili sauce right here too.
Oh,
Combine the
yum.
two. And then that'll kind of help just hold the flavor together. And we'll reserve the rest for finishing. We can also toss in a little bit of garlic, some gingers, and some cilantro to it.
Wonderful. I don't think about cilantro in Asian cooking.
You know, a lot of people don't. It's really subtle, and it's more in kind of the southeast, more Thai and stuff like that. You're
Okay.
gonna see more of it, and Vietnamese.
Wonderful.
So it'll help kind of just incorporate some of the flavor and keep
I'm
it
not
from sticking.
opposed, just so you know.
Okay, wasn't sure if you had something against it.
No, no, absolutely not.
All right, I think our steak is ready to flip.
All right.
Beautiful. So we shut off our steak now. We can just let that rest for a
Okay.
minute or two while we're getting everything together. So if you got a plate, let's start doing this. Put that here. Some barley tongs.
Yes.
Do as a nice little portion of noodles there. As you can see, they're still nice and hot.
Yeah.
Then I'll just take one of our red onions, cut off our stem. We've kept our stem on there.
Okay. Just to hold them together?
Cut them like that. And then you can kind of fan them out.
And of course, they're sweet.
Yeah, so they're gonna be kind of
Delicious.
sweet roasted, so they're gonna contrast our flavor profile just a little bit on there.
Nice.
And Then what we'll do, will you put the steak over here on the cutting board, please?
Sure. There you go.
All right. While that's resting, we're just gonna give this a little extra of our chili sauce here.
And that's another thing you can't use too much of, in my personal
No,
opinion.
you can use as much as you can handle. We're just gonna do just a tiny pinch of some fresh ginger. A little bit of our sesame seeds, give it some color and a little more crunch to it.
Nice.
And what I usually will end up doing, slicing them out like that. And usually what I prefer to do with these ones is I go a little more towards the rare.
Okay.
It kind of balances the delicate flavor with it a little more, in my opinion. But, you know, obviously do it according to however you would like it.
Right.
So we'll just get something up there like that. And just touch it off with a little more cilantro.
Beautiful. Oh, that just looks fabulous.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Iowa Ingredient is not the only thing cooking in the kitchens at Primary Image in Des Moines. Most of the time, this studio is used for food photography. Here, they create the mouth-watering pictures you see in cookbooks, magazines, menus, and more. To food stylists, the way the food looks is much more important than how it tastes.
All our food that we style is edible, okay? But the way we prepare it, you wouldn't want to eat any of it.
There is a great deal involved in making food look fresh and appetizing in a photograph. Food stylists need to combine the science of cooking with visual artistry to create an appealing image. When preparing a hamburger for a photo, the meat is deliberately undercooked to keep it plump and juicy. How the patty is shaped is also important.
It's got to be bigger than the bun, maybe about 10 to 15% bigger, because it will shrink. You buy the buns in the grocery store, and they're always flat, so you go through about 6 packs of buns to make sure that you have the perfect round one on the top. Put the bun down, the bottom half, and then you put what we call it a diaper, and it's just a paper towel folded up so that it doesn't bleed into the bun, the meat juices. And then we can start tucking lettuce underneath it. And just little, it's just a collar. There's not an actual big sheet of lettuce. And just the collar. We use American or Velveeta cheese. It melts better. So we put it in warm water and then just drape it over the hamburger. Then we put the tomatoes and onion, and then sometimes you have to pin it so that the tomatoes don't fall out.
When the food is ready, it's taken to a set to be photographed. It sometimes takes a few hours to get the perfect shot, so the food has to be prepared to stay fresh-looking for a long time.
I wanted the shape of the burger to really stand out and the toppings to be shown in their best light. With that one, I was going more for a daylight look, and so I let the background really blow out, kind of like you're at a picnic scene. Maybe this chip.
Right.
We typically have anywhere from 3 to 5 people here working on a set. You'll have the client, a food stylist, a prop stylist, an art director, and myself. Everybody looks at it with a different eye. I'm looking at focus, composition, lighting. Food stylist is looking pretty much just at the food, making sure the food is looking its very best.
When shooting pizza, the cheese is the star. Clients often want to show off those delightful strings of mozzarella as they pull up a slice. And there is a trick to making that happen.
We use fresh dough, but you can use any kind of dough you want. And then we bake it for a little bit, just until it can be cut. And then we cut our wedge. If you cut it after it's baked, the cheese will just separate and it won't it won't cut, it won't pull up. And then we make it like just a regular pizza. But once we start to put the cheese on, we put a lot of cheese on the cut place. And then we'd finish baking it, and then we go in and lift it up gently. And there you go. Oh, there's all kinds of little tricks that are fun. Ice cream, we do sometimes make ice cream out of Crisco and powdered sugar, but it is edible.
These guys truly enjoy the creative challenge of preparing food for the camera. But it's working in a collaborative environment with a team of talented people that really makes them love what they do. That's it for this week's show. Thank you for exploring Iowa's food landscape with us. See you next time for another savory episode of Iowa Ingredient. As you can probably guess, the Iowa Ingredient staff is fond of all things that celebrate Iowa food. And in 2014 and early 2015, we visited the amazing restaurants, farms, and other food venues featured on this program. But circumstances can change, so we encourage you to call ahead if you're planning a trip of your own. We hope you get the opportunity to sample some of Iowa's tasty flavors for yourself.
Funding for Iowa Ingredient has been provided by Friends, the Iowa Public Television Foundation. A grant from the W.T. and Edna M. Dahl Trust. Alliant Energy, working to help Iowa businesses be more productive with funding for equipment upgrades and process improvements. Chef Lisa Laval of Trellis Cafe and Chef Michael Laval of the Des Moines Embassy Club. For more than 100 years, the Des Moines Embassy Club has provided a place to dine, celebrate, and do business. Located in downtown Des Moines and in West Des Moines, details are at embassyclub.com. Iowa Community Foundations, an initiative of the Iowa Council of Foundations, connecting donors to the causes and communities they care about. For good, for Iowa, forever. Details at iowacommunityfoundations.org.